What up? Welcome to A2thaShow. It is me, A2thaMo. Or is it I? I don't know the proper grammar. This is episode, let's say 34. I think I'm right. 34. Like Big Dog Shack. Seeing these new Epstein list releases? I hope not. Every day we're hearing more and more names, and it's fun. It's a good time. Nothing's gonna happen, but it's a good time. We'll get into hopefully maybe more later. Let's see. Shout out Soko calling in last week. Talked about some TV shows, all that stuff. In case you missed it, go back and listen to it. Really, almost thought about skipping this week just because ain't shit happening. I got snowed in for like a week. It's really just a couple days, but through my job, it was closed down a lot of snow and ice accumulation. Oklahoma's not ready for that shit. What was crazy, as soon as you would get like main roads or like a highway just out of town, it was like roads clear, but in town, these residential roads were iced up. So yeah, I just stayed in. I cooked a lot of food in the last week, just fucking eating and doing nothing. All my clothes are tight. It's been a thing. So anyway, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed a good snow break, if you will. And then we had another little cold freeze here the previous night before my recording. So I'm making another soup. I've been making so many soups. I'm not a big soup fan, but my wife loves them. So I had to figure out a few recipes. Going a chicken noodle this evening is the plan. Fucked up a little bit. I think I made the chicken chunks too big. They are ginormous. And I'm just like, well, eventually it'll break down in the crock pot and but I don't know if it will. They're like a chunk like that. Oh no, that's the Y power symbol. How else do it? I don't know how else to do it. So anyway, they're like larger than a chicken nugget size. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's my life. Cooking and hanging out. Also, of course, downloading and ripping DVDs and Blu-rays. Build my own streaming service at the moment. Right now, it's just contained in my household, but there is. I've been going deep diving. There's like a way I can get on a VPN. There's like a free one out there you can sign up for where you can add like 100 devices to one thing, so then I could give it to like a friend. Somehow they connect to it, and then they could access my streaming service, if you will. And so something about that's pretty entertaining or interesting. But I don't really have that many friends, so I don't know if it's worth doing all this. These people online claim they do it for like their parents as well, but I'm like, I don't want to watch the shit I watch. All she wants to watch is fucking what woman killed their husband on ID channel or whatever. It's concerning. So, home and dad's safe. All right. Last week, also when Soko called in, right, like while we were recording, the latest the time of this recording, ICE shooting happened. So of course there was the first one where the ICE officer shot the lady in the car, and that was like fucking crazy. And people were arguing over like, no, she deserved it because she was driving a car, and then this one happened. I don't understand I can see the arguments, but it's like even more of like, how the fuck you argue in this one? So, I don't know if I'll find a video for this one, because it's like basically an execution video or whatever. But basically there was a guy at a protest. He had a gun on him and extra magazines, I believe is what people are claiming. And he got into it with the ICE officers. He did not draw his weapon. I think they even had confiscated his weapon by this time. But then they I think they shot him like 10 times. That's what I read. I really, to be honest, I haven't been watching the video of it because I'm like, I don't really want to watch that. But anyway, that's more or less the issue. So then in terms like what happens on the internet, as everyone knows, y'all live there as well. Everyone has to start choosing sides. And I think most reasonable people see them. They're like, oh, those people that shot that man are clearly in the wrong. And then, but there's a certain people that they just have to back their team because that's all this is. It's just a big team sports or whatever. And so they're like, no, that guy didn't comply with officers. And then like you shouldn't. And then Donald Trump himself says, he brought a gun to a protest. Only bad guys do that, which is like totally the Republican Party's thing. Like let's flash back a few years ago when they were having the BLM protests or during the COVID times. And there would be people, I know it's because it happened in the town I'm in, there would be people that showed up in like full military regalia with their AK-47. Not really. It was like probably an AR-15. And, and they're like, well, I'm just here to watch to make sure nothing happens. And they were like white guys standing on the fringes, like, we're watching these protests. And we were all like weird as fuck, but I guess, we got fucking rights. Actually, we weren't all like that. A lot of the liberals were like very scared. And they're like, that shouldn't be happening. And now that it's went the other way, and that's the only thing. So this guy, since he was shot, a lot of liberals now have been like, do they not have a Second Amendment right? Which of course they do. And I'm all for them using that argument. It is just interesting to see, again, once it's your team, you all of a sudden start caring about stuff you didn't care about, or you even maybe preached opposite of before. So in that way, this is a pretty eye-opening thing where all of a sudden a lot of Republicans are becoming more bootlickerish. They're like trying to be like, you just listen to the cops and do what they say, when a true conservative would be like, how about the government doesn't have much power, And then I have to say, I think it was Pete Buttigieg said something of like, now's the time where libertarians and Republicans can join us Democrats in standing up for the Second Amendment and the First Amendment, blah, blah. And it's like, well, if anything, I think the argument should be, y'all can join the Libertarian Party. Like, they've been saying it, to act like, again, I don't know. I agree with everything the Democrats are saying in this moment, but it is interesting to see, given, again, the whole do not comply, or you should have complied right after COVID happened. And during that, it was like the government is going to make you, I ain't complying with anything, so I don't know. It's interesting. And then even Kyle Rittenhouse, who I've been a long time, like, reluctantly on his side about his whole issue, because I don't want, he seems like kind of a douchey, kid or whatever. But, when his issue happened, I was like, it was self-defense. It just was, like whatever you look at it. And then so during this, Kyle Rittenhouse has come out after Trump basically said, don't bring gun to protests. And he has shown his support for like, no, you can do that. That's part of your rights as an American. And so it's divided people a little bit. But something I've also seen about this is people have claimed to have a video of this guy who got shot or from like the day before at a protest, where he kicked a cop's or an ICE vehicle's tail light, and then he was spitting on them. And then a lot of people on the like pro he died side are trying to use that as like, see, he did this thing, he wasn't a good guy, which even if he did it, I don't think that again means you should be killed. I think if there's laws against that stuff, fucking file the charges. But let's say he did do that and the cops saw that, knew about it. Well, then that's like premeditated murder. Like, then they went into it trying to kill him, is what you're basically saying. So I don't know. It's just all, again, I think it's a tragic situation, and in and of itself. But I think just the way you see the political teams react to these things is what's kind of crazy. It like, or to me, it's like, wow, this is fucking living in a bizarro world when all of a sudden one incident happens and everyone switched sides on this ordeal. Sorry, I haven't talked this long in a while. Also, something else that happened, I think, again, all Minnesota related. And that's the only thing where it's like, it's either the simulation or it's all propaganda or the CIA or something, that's like how my brain goes, where it's like so many things happening in Minnesota. Like everything that happens recently is in Minnesota. And maybe it's by design, or, maybe it is all coincidence. Who knows? But Don Lemon, when was that, a month ago or so, maybe a few weeks ago, he was with a mob, I think is what he's claiming. There was a mob going around protesting. They went into a church. They interrupted a church service and on a Sunday, and that kind of made national news headlines to be like, how dare they interrupt a church? And I don't know if I really have too strong opinions one way or the other about if protesting should be allowed in church. I think there's like good manners and not, but how many times do protesters care about manners? They'll be like, I'll block a whole street on your way to work to make you late to work to fucking fight something that has nothing to do with you. Like they're not always thinking logically, in my opinion. Like they're protesting in areas that I'm like, what the fuck is this gonna do? Anyway, probably beside the point there. But anyway, Don Lemon gets arrested because of that mob thing, and because there's apparently some law against fucking protesting in churches or something. I'm not exactly sure. And so anyway, that happens. He gets out by a grand jury. I think he's already been released or whatever. But it led to a lot of people being like, "How dare you? How dare they arrest a journalist for doing journalism?" I don't really think Don Lemon's much of a journalist. He's a TV show host, or that's what he's been for the last however long until he got fired. And then in that incident, when I remember watching those videos when he went to the church, it did seem like he was leading it. Like he might have been like, "Hey, let's all go to this church for the film footage." He didn't seem like he was reporting on it as much as he was rather a part of it at the least or leading it. So I do think I understand why charges got filed. But I don't know. The last few years, Don Lemon only comes up in a bad light. He's never had any good stories about him recently. But maybe that's a reason to trust him. The man's always trying to take out Don Lemon. And with a name like Lemon, it does seem like it'd be a hard life maybe, because you're a lemon, that has negative connotations. Oh, and then also the Epstein files, some stuff came out there, which is pretty exciting. I think it's the last round of the files, and they try to redact some stuff, but I think they keep fucking up the way they're doing redactions, and people can just remove them. And then there's some stuff they did not fully redact. So I think things off the top of my head I can think of. I think Jay-Z and Pusha T were listed somewhere where they did some with a 13-year-old, or that's what a 13-year-old testified or something like that. And then there's some emails where Elon Musk is begging to go to Epstein's Island, which is very cringe. And it's not just cringe in general. It's like he puts in parentheses girls FTW, like for the win. Like, I don't know. He's just being fucking overly cringe, unless he's going to come back and be like, actually, I was running the Black Ops against him, or I don't know. Like, it's insane. Some of the verbiage, the way he's talking, doing it. And then there's a woman who claims some shit on Trump, but I think it's a similar incident to what's in the Netflix documentary, because a lot of this sort of stuff's talked about on that. But anyway, it basically claimed Donald Trump when she was, I think, 13 or something. It was like 30 years ago. In New Jersey, would like go up to these young teenage girls and put one finger in, and then he would rate them on tightness, and then would like tell people. I don't know, like that was his whole thing. And I think you could imagine that. I don't think that's as far. I don't think it's crazily far fetched. Seeing him do that. Also, I think, and I'm not trying to like do a whole like it was a different world, but that's basically what I'm about to say. There is a part where I'm like, I just think all the old rich guys, and I know he wasn't on this at that time, I think they all just were pedophiles. And I don't think they thought of it as pedophiles. I think they're like, yeah, I'm rich and I can get a 14-year-old girl. And I think now in our culture, we're like, this is fucking disgusting. And so I think it's cool we're holding them to these standards. But I just don't think you're going to find maybe many people in a position of power that weren't doing fucked up shit back then. And maybe, again, you still Me Too them or cancel them or bring charges, whatever you could do. But I think we might have an underlying expectation of like, no, there were noble men doing good things. There were good guys. It's like, there might not have been, that might be just how it was. I think back, just of a that's how it was story. I don't know how accurate or true this was. I don't remember where I read it, but it was a story that a guy wrote that was like passed down from his grandfather. And it was about his grandfather who was a little kid in West Texas, like in the late 1800s, early 1900s, something like that. Like before there was like interstate policing and things, like at least not in a great way. And there just wasn't much structure. It was more Wild Westy. And maybe it was even passed down from something, earlier than what I'm remembering. But basically the idea would be like this, this guy's grandfather was one of 12 kids, and then or 13 kids, something like that. And then all but one, the oldest, was kidnapped. Like slave traders came in and just kidnapped all these kids off a farm, because that's just, they pulled it off, it was the Wild West, the Old West shit. And so anyway, this like the eldest, who is this guy's writing to uncle, his grandpa was one of the ones kidnapped, I think. But anyway, his uncle spent a year tracking down clues to figure out where they were. And then he went to New Mexico or wherever it was they were at, found them, killed the people that bought them. And, those people probably were innocent. I'm sure And some, I mean, they probably bought kids, yeah, but I mean, they might have been told they were orphans or something. But, you know, and then they just brought them back. And then all of him and his siblings continue to work on the farm or whatever. And you're like, that's fucking, you know, like, that's so wild compared to anything I will ever experience or most of us would ever experience. But there was just like a way of life at a time. In a less dramatic way, I remember my grandpa telling me just stories of him growing up and how they would go to the dump and he would go through trash at the dump and he would find mason jars that were still good. And he would turn around and go sell them at a flea market. And then he would take that money and feed him and his brother. And you're just like, this is like, yeah, like I didn't have to worry about any of this shit. I felt very poor growing up, but turns out poor in America nowadays, you're so poor. You normally are at for the most part. I say that someone's listening is like, fuck you, my life. You don't know what my life was like. So anyway, Epstein files. I mentioned that. More stuff coming out. I'll try to dive deeper into it. I'm really just ready for the other people to dive deep and then they, you know, get all the best of stuff for me because that's the laziness I'm at these days. I'm not even diving deep in my own conspiracies anymore. I'm like, come on, do the hard work for me, people. All right, let's play a song. The song we're going with here is from the homie. It's your boy H2. Now, not to get too off track, but I know normally we start with Sir Nasty. I mentioned last week would be the last one we had from his last album, but he has another one going on in a couple weeks. So we have a couple weeks without him, but he'll be back as long as they give me the album. And so this is my reminder to you, Graveyard. But for now, we're starting off with It's Your Boy H2. And this one is off of his album called Emo Icon. He might pronounce it some other way, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. And it's called a Rewired, but I think that also is like, seems like reworked or re something. I don't know. I think it's like he redone some stuff. Or maybe just a re-release. Who knows? I don't have all the answers, damn it. I mean, the name of the song we're going with here is called In-Somnia. And let's give it a listen.
I'm in bed sweating like I had a night terror, and if I look hard enough, yeah, she right there. Got both her arms wrapped around me in my mirror. Her voice echoes off my drum like I hear, like she trapped. I'm so whacked, I would travel far and wide just to hear her call me my hero. My delirious really serious, and I'd like to take some drugs to clear it up, but I'm afraid to make it worse. Cursing a curse never work. To break a curse like a screw loose or a bolt halfway jerked. I'm going berserk, cause I'm not supposed to hurt. I'm supposed to be alone on my own in this universe. All I know is words, but when you use them long enough, then you start to know the perks. And the pictures all I'm seeing at work, dawg, to the point I can't even turn off. I toss and turn all night, I can't get you off my mind. I say I'll be alright, but we all know that I'm lying. I'm in the war of my life, my heart is bombing away. Can't get rest, so impressed, it's just insomnia. It's just insomnia. Oh, it's just insomnia. Her physique is unique, not a thing need critiqued. Only known her a week, but I think she the peak. I don't even need a peek. I treat her like a queen, cause I'm sure behind them castle walls I'ma find a freak. Now it's time to beat this illness and hopefully get back to some realness. They can seal me in this lab like I ain't supposed to feel shit, like it's my fault I ain't equipped to get a guilt trip. I'm just an experiment, so I guess it's evident I was never heaven sent. I'm just a weapon of mass destruction, but there's only one me, so where's the mass production? Past buzzing like mass consumption. Guess my flow is mass redundant, but as far as vocab, that's abundant. Push my buttons, pull my plug, do something. I toss and turn all night, I can't get you off my mind. I say I'll be alright, but we all know that I'm lying. I'm in the war of my life, my heart is bombing away. Can't get rest, so impressed, it's just insomnia. It's just insomnia. Oh, it's just insomnia.
It's your boy H2 with Insomnia. Off of his not newest album. I think he has another one newer than that, but his somewhat newish album, Emo Icon. And Yeah. Anyway, I like that beat. I mean, I know I made it, so I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I thought I like the beat. I think it's cool. I think it fit the vibe well, and you know, I like it. Shout out H2. Also, send us music. We're trying to do music episodes where Skinny comes over and we listen to a bunch more music. It's over at A2thaShow@gmail.com. We can always use some music over there. And also H2 sent he's been sending in his songs to be reviewed by, I want to say his name's the Rap Nerd, something like that. And so H2's been clipping up that guy. He does like real music reviews where he's like, you watch him listen to it and he's like, oh, stop, that's good right there. Which is probably like the way I should do it, but we use the song moments to like smoke and stuff and get refills and cool stuff like that. And when I first started music reviewing podcast years ago, not that like I originate or anything, but we had some. I was a little more judgy or like give my opinion on things, and people kept getting mad at me. So we just play the music here. We let you listen to it and hope you like it. And if you like it, go find them on your favorite streaming site. Give them some listens. That's what it's all about. All right, let's talk about some sports. I have a few notes here on some sports stuff happening. I think one of my favorite ones that happened recently is there was a report that came out by, man, I knew who wrote it too, and I just forgot. Like, it just spaced in my brain. But someone wrote a report for the LA Lakers, like a little behind the scenes thing that's happened. So for people that don't know or don't care, and I'm just going to tell you anyway, Jeannie Buss, daughter of the great Dr. Buss, who owned the Lakers and invented the Showtime Lakers and that whole era. Anyway, his daughter, Jeannie Buss, basically won the ownership of it all. Like, earlier in her career, she used her younger siblings and like convinced them to back her so that she could vote out her older siblings to fire them. And then somewhat recently, she used the older siblings to come in and like outvote the younger siblings. Like, she's in the middle, and they sold the Lakers to a really rich guy who owns the Dodgers, and for a whole bunch of money, but she still gets to like make decisions, and she has a pretty good percentage, but basically kicked the rest of her family out. And it's, some gangster shit in some sort of way, but some fucked up shit in other ways. Depends how you look at it. And so that all comes out. So through that stuff's happened, they wrote this news story. And in that is about how Jeannie Buss feels like LeBron James was not grateful enough for her drafting Bronny. And I so 100% agree with this, that I think LeBron should be like, take a pay cut, Laker for life, do whatever they say, because they drafted his undeserving son with an with an NBA draft pick, and then paid him 3 to 4 times more than anyone else would get paid at that position. And then it's just like not even thought about. It's the same thing with Giannis has his brothers on the team, and they just get paid all this. It's like an extra way of paying Giannis, So I agree with Jeannie Buss on that deal. And then there seems to be some like rift behind the scenes. And then this last week, LeBron played at Cleveland, and they played a video package, and now everyone's like, yeah, LeBron's going to go back to Cleveland for next year for this retirement tour. And maybe that does happen, and that'll be fun or whatever. But I just thought that was an interesting like side NBA story. As far as normal NBA world, my Thunder are struggling. It's been a rough month or so. Now, I think what people don't talk about a lot is if you just look at their strength of schedule, they had the easiest strength of schedule the first 2 months of the season, and now they have like the hardest going forward because of the way it's like just back end loaded with the good teams or whatever. So I think that's just part of it, and they're losing some close games that they should be winning, but they don't hit 3-pointers. And they're pretty weak on the inside with Hardenstein out, but he just came back. So, yeah, the Thunder is struggling, but I still watch the games, and it doesn't. I actually kind of maybe even like it more that there's some doubt and less people being like, oh, what, they're just going to win again? Like, that's how it was at the beginning of the season. Everyone just was so mad that they were good. So, anyway, still watching the games, and it's a good time. Also, somewhat related to the NBA, a lot of people are a rule they instituted a few years ago is that you have to play 65 games in a season. There's 82 games in a season, by the way, in case you're curious. And you have to play 65 of those in order to get an award. So like to win MVP or Defensive Player of the Year or make an All NBA team, just any of the in-season awards. And when it first happened, everyone was really happy about it. They're like, yeah, because a lot of guys were just sitting out games for no fucking reason. And so it was like supposed to be a way to force them to play because they didn't want to lose out on winning awards. But then what happens is people just get injured and then they miss more time. And then people start getting mad like, well, this is bullshit. We can't vote for him just because he got an injury. And you're like, well, y'all just loved it like 2 years ago. The same like podcasters and sports analysts or whatever. And so they get all worked up. And now basically Jokic, center for the Denver Nuggets, he got injured and he's probably going to be below the 65 games. So he won't be eligible for MVP. And he was probably the favorite to win it. And now everyone's like mad, but it's like, well, that's what y'all want. And I think it's like maybe one time ever someone who didn't play at least 65 games even won the MVP. So it's almost like a moot point. Like they didn't even have to officially do this rule. And people, just that's how the voters are. They normally don't vote for someone who missed a bunch of time that year. But I think it does affect all NBA. People used to vote for someone that played less than half the year for an all NBA team because they were like one of the best players in the NBA. They just got injured. And then that was affecting people getting paid money and other people not getting paid money because there's like contract of incentives to making all NBA. So anyway, it's a whole fucked thing, happening right now in the NBA. It seems like people are mad that it's going to affect people's legacies because you look in the past, you're like, well, Jokic should have had this, like this center would have 30 years ago, but because these new rules he won't or what, like that's what people are getting mad about. Stuff that's not really that important, I would say overall, but that's how it is when you have a podcast or shows about what like they just got to find stuff to talk about. That's kind of the problem with ESPN is they have to every morning start talking about shit. So they pay Stephen A because he'll fucking act annoyed or give a take about something, so that's, and I guess he doesn't really give takes. He normally reacts to other people's hot takes. Seems a little more accurate. All right, here's a random sports thought. I know I said this years ago, and it doesn't matter at all for anything, but I always see people talking about height in sports, and like this guy's this tall, and this guy's this tall, or whatever. And I fundamentally believe that we should all go off of shoulder height. I don't even think we should tell people, like when someone asks how tall you are, you shouldn't even be answering with the top of your head. Because first off, your eyes are here. You're not tall. You're not this extra spot. That means nothing. And then functionally in sports, there is nothing about your neck to the top of your head that matters for height. And there could be a guy who's like 6'5", two guys that are 6'5", and one's got like a big old fucking head, but he's still 6'5", and the other one has a less tall head, but he's bigger, the guy with the less, because his shoulders will be higher up. So shoulder height should be the athletic measurement for height. So if anyone's in a sport, they'll be like, oh, or maybe just have them both. So it'll be like, oh, the guy's 6'5", but he's got a 5'10" shoulder height or whatever. I don't know what the fucking I don't know how big most people. My head's huge. My shoulder height will be way shorter than I think you would expect for whatever my normal height is. I used to be 5'11", but with all my shitty posture, I say I must be down to 5'10" these days. Oh no, I don't. And I also never think myself as tall or short. I think myself as absolutely average. I'm always curious if other people think of that. Then I'm like, well, tall people can't think they're average. They gotta think. They have to know they're tall. They're always like overlooking everybody. But I know that it's like 5'7" average height, but that seems short to me. But I think that is what they say is average. So anyway, diving deep into height numbers. Average shoe size is a 9, America male 9, is what I remember. And it was always a bummer because mine is bigger than that. And never had my size and shit. Well, I get it's a bummer because that means they'll stock a lot of those, but also means they'll be sold out of them because there's a lot of people. So I guess pros and cons. Other sports stuff. Last weekend was the first weekend of the UFC Paramount deal, and then this weekend will be another one. So from when you are hearing this, the last 2 weekends, I watched the first one. I'm going to watch the second one as well, as long as I can stay awake. And I had no problem the first one, but that happens sometimes. I'm old. I get sleepy. But yeah, I watched the Gaethje Patty Pimilton fight. It was pretty entertaining. It didn't seem like a championship fight. It did seem there's something about it that seemed a little off. but I think people, because I've been out on UFC the last few years during their whole ESPN run. I didn't really keep up with it as much as I used to. But I think it's that Patty should have been trying to submit him, but he was like trying to prove he could stand up with him. And then, I don't know, some of it just the rhythm of the last five felt off. But also, I thought there was a few, or at least two I can remember, earlier fights in the card where people got robbed. I think Sugar Sean O'Malley got gifted a victory. He did not win that fight. In my opinion, like when I watched, it didn't seem like he was in control or whatever. And then there was a female fight. I can't remember who they were. And they just kept talking about how awesome the girl was that won. But in the fight, I thought she lost. So, but anyway, I like watching UFC. It's a good time on a Saturday night. And that is what I plan on doing tonight to let everybody know what day I'm recording this one. And yeah, anyway, good times. Shout out UFC on Paramount. Also, I think you can sign up for $8.99 a month. I have the whatever the fucking next one up is, the plan. But even that, I mean, like, I think it's like $13 a month or something like that. But to get a UFC fight, pay-per-view, you know what I mean? It's unreal. And everyone was playing about the ads, but I haven't watched it in years. So to me, I was like, I don't give a shit at all. This is great. I think they were like, they're playing ads during the corner. We can't hear the corner guy talk. It's like, okay, I guess that is a bummer, but also you didn't pay $80 for it. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the way that went. Like I said, we're gonna do it again. And then the last thing I have on my sports list here is the Bill Belichick is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. They recently voted on that, and he did not make it. And people, it's a big sports show talking point. Because I don't know if he's the most winning coach of all time, but he's up there. I don't remember the NFL records at the moment, but he's won a lot of Super Bowls, and everyone thought he would for sure get in first ballot. But I do think, and everyone else told us as well, so I guess I'm just repeating other points, but the Spygate thing did happen. I think he had two different occurrences where he was caught spying on people. The claim on one of them was it lasts for 7 years before he got caught. So it's like, yeah, if you're spying on other teams and getting their plays and shit, then yeah, I bet you do pretty good. So I think it makes sense that he's getting punished and I'll be a first ballot. Like, I think that's a bigger deal than Barry Bonds taking steroids, and they've kept him out of the baseball Hall of Fame. But I'm like, what? A guy wants to get fucking swole? Ain't got shit to do with baseball. That's my take on Barry Bonds. There you go. So anyway, also Belichick's living his best life. He's banging a 23-year-old or however old she is, and I'm sure she's older than that. She looks older than that, but I think she's very young. And he'll get in eventually. Maybe it'll be post-mortem. Is that what it means, after death? I don't know. I'm trying to sound smart. Up my vocabulary because I've realized it's gotten very poor. I just use the same words over and over again. And what kind of rapper am I if I can't increase my vocabulary linguistically or something like that? All right, and then my next topic here, video games. Only got one I've been playing, and so I'll talk about it here. And that is Spider-Man 2. I planned on beating the game today. I actually wanted to this morning, but I got busy doing shit. But I'm at the last mission, I feel like. I'm like right there at the end. And I really liked the game, and I still do, but I liked it a whole lot up until like the last twist, if you will, where it's like, and now there's this enemy, and now you're going to do this part, and the whole city's overtaken and different. That part I'm finding a little, I don't love it as much, but I really enjoyed the game up until, and I still like it. It's just, and I think the story's better than the first game. I think the combat's better. I think overall Spider-Man 2 better than Spider-Man 1. I really like the Miles and having the two Spider-Men, you can use both of them. And yeah, anyway, I think it's really well made, but I will say I don't get addicted to it. So there's certain video games that like, I know are my shit because like I think about them all the time. Like when I'm not playing, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get on this game and play this. And I will say the Spider-Man 1 and 2, neither one of them pull me in like that. Like when I play, I'm like, oh yeah, shit, I need to get to that. And I play and I enjoy it in the moment, but I don't think about it when I'm not playing it. And so whatever that means, I think it's more on me, not on the game, if you will, So those are my video game thoughts, not a whole lot there. I know I don't have a very long segment to play here, but I remember my Miles Morales character would look like the White Ranger, and so I had him on this suit, and I was like, well, let's film this real quick while I'm playing. But yeah, maybe today I'll finish that game up, and then I'll have to figure out what I'm playing next. I know there was a game that comes out in February, but rumor is Fallout 3 remaster is going to come out in February. And so I'd probably get that and play it, but maybe not. I could also see not be in the mood for another giant like open world game. Not that Spider-Man's that big. But in March, there's this game, Crimson Desert, coming out, and they recently released all these videos showing some of its gameplay. And I've been really hyped about it before these videos of like, let's see how good this is. And even after videos, I'm like, it's really going to be awesome or it's going to fucking suck. Like, it's one of those things like they rather pull it all off and it's so fun together, or it's like a fucking mess of systems and too much shit, overlayered each other. And then there's no heart or soul to the game. It's hard to tell at the moment. But I really do want to get it for some reason. I don't normally buy too many new games, but I just feel like this one could be a big deal. And then of course after that, Sorrows, so excited about. But I have a lot of little games I've downloaded that I just need to play. I have a backlog really building up, but I've just not had the passion for the video games. And I think maybe because I'm playing Spider-Man and I just don't, I'm not addicted to it like that. But I don't know. I've been really obsessing over this streaming server. See if I can pull anything up right here easily where people can see it. I'll try it here. I don't want to go too deep into it. I was going to show it off with Skinny next week. So anyway, there's all your shit. And it's like I have all these movies I've been messing with. And these are like all my DVDs I've been ripping and putting here. So anyway, anywhere in my house, I can get on this and watch any of this stuff anywhere. But now I've become obsessed with, I spend all day ripping DVDs and Blu-rays that I own, but I'm done with that now. So now I'm moving on, but, way too much stuff. And at the moment, everything's loading kind of slow. So it doesn't look as good, but I think it's because I'm doing so many other things. But anyway, so this is my latest obsession, and really the gold mine's probably the TV shows more so, but, yeah, anyway, too much stuff. Spent way too much time on all that. Anyway, my wife's always going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, I'm ripping DVDs. And then I've watched very few of them, but that's not what this is about. This is about sort of hibernation, survival instinct of like, let's hoard all the resources because the world's about to end. And the resources I want are entertainment. This is what I will crave in the afterlife or apocalypse. Guess it's not an afterlife, unless you can take your TV shows to the afterlife, and then in which case would be pretty cool. I don't really know how much. I don't know what my theory of the afterlife is. If I'm really leaning heavy in the simulation theory lately, I would assume, I guess the afterlife is just you unplug and all of a sudden you're the person that was playing the game and you're like, what the fuck? I didn't remember any of who I was. Or you're like, you don't even think about that part. You just remember, you're like, God, I fucking sucked that. I didn't accomplish anything that run, and it's a roguelike, and then they just delete this whole thing and they run again, hopefully with better power-ups of what I got this run. I think that's the best way to think about it. All right, let's play another song. Now, this song we're going with here is from a new artist to the podcast. Now, I haven't asked people to send music in to play on the music spinoff shows, and then we might also play some on the normal episodes when we need songs. And this is one of those moments. So let's hope this goes well. I can't remember I don't think the artist themselves sent me this. I think it was like their label, possibly. And I might have been in a mailing list. It might have been that personal. But the name of the artist is Ill Child. And the name of the song we're playing here is called First 48, which is the intro song off of their album, I believe. So let's give it a listen.
Yeah. It took a minute to get to this point. We're gonna enjoy the moment. Eyes wide shut. I had to let him sing to you for a second. Okay. Listen. Born alone, die alone. If you ain't down to die, what you riding for? I turn my circle to a dot, so I ride alone. Solo surfboard, not a ride alone. Y'all ain't built for these waves. Swear to God, fake the new real these days. I'm 100, I'm Ben Franklin. They think they own it, what they been drinking. I been soaring, they been taking. Any track I get on, I pissed on. I'm Chuck Daly, what baby? They want bars, I give them Snickers, I'm nuts baby. Nuns on back page, yeah, illy too much baby. Been holding this in, I'm going in, I'm coming out. Votto said please give them something like nothing out. So for every whack rapper on, I'm dumbing out. Cut my mic up, hit the lights, I'm numbing out. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. All this stress got me looking like an old man. They can't put me in a box like an old fan. Dream chasing, trying to live out of my old plans. Fake smiles, handshakes with cold hands. R.I.P. haters, heads bow, let's hold hands. Been a minute, so I had to get managed. Sitting still too long, like the mannequin challenge. Pen too strong, not a man that can challenge her. Off of their head, it's still off with their head. Weird science, I've been lost in the head. Still grinding, ain't nothing over the bread. Still riding, still rocking for Chad. Still free nickel 9 out of the feds. If you wanna be great, conversate with those who can relate. Sometimes I talk to the dead. What up, Pac? What up, Pun? What up, L? I need M's, I write gems and puff L's. I'm really him, I'm not them, I won't fail. They say they got it, they say they poppin', I can't tell. I fell back for a minute, street said they ain't heard no real slap in a minute. Yeah, now I'm back reinvented. Real rap, all facts, no gimmicks. Hard body for the scratch, headed to the top like a rocket on my back. You can't block it or deter it. Come on, it's me, wide open for 3, Steph Curry. That's a layup, I'm way up, I'm on now. On the road, I don't really be at home now. That's from killing these beats, so cue the violin. Got the key to the streets, I've been a YFN. They ain't seeing no paper, they need a wider lens. Want a lot of ends, not a lot of friends. Took a few L's, but I got a lot of wins. They played around, I stayed down, and I got it in. Yeah. Took a few L's, but I got a lot of wins. They played around, I stayed down, and I got it in.
Ill Child with First 48 off of his album Eyes Wide Shut. Just got that movie today in my collection. I haven't watched it in fucking 20 years. So hopefully it's good. So it's like, actually, it came out 19 years ago or whatever. But y'all know what I mean. It's been a while. So yeah, anyway, thanks for sending the song in. I have another one listed for a music spinoff episode as well. We're about 2 songs short to record the next one at the moment. So hopefully we get some songs in, and then we'll get that recorded as well. Where we listen for a song, and then we go, cool, and then we play another one. It's pretty high concept art sort of thing. All right, let's see what else I got in this list. Not to fit anyone, I think Italians that think they are anything other than white are crazy. Now, I do think you can be from Italy and another race, like you're born in Italy, and that technically makes you Italian. But I think the classic sort of Italian mob sort of guy, think of an American, an Italian American, for them to think they aren't white is insane to me. I think it's very crazy. And I think some Irish people say this as well sometimes, which is even crazier because they're like so fucking white. And what they mean is like, we weren't rich white people that was part of the aristocracy or whatever. But it's like, well, that's not what it means anymore. It just means you fucking look at someone, you go, oh, yeah, they're white. And then a lot of fucking white groups sometimes get their panties in a bunch about like, well, actually, I'm Irish or I'm this or that. Like they know whatever their lineage is and shit. But then in the same breath, they would call like all black people black. And it's like, well, come on, what are they? They Nigerian, or they, like they don't expect that, but they expect it for their like it's, it's like an eyeball test. I think it also, like, we call Asians when it's, I guess that's continent based. So somehow that's better, I guess. But if we call them something colored based, that would be racist. Where, so that's interesting. Something to ponder on. And anyway, I just seen a lot of people, or not a lot, every once in a while, Italian people you'll see where they they're like, well, we're not technically white. I actually heard a podcast this week where a guy that's half Italian was like, well, I'm not white because I'm half Italian. And I'm like, well, that's insane. That's fucking crazy that they somehow you're exempt from the white label. When it's like, if I look at you and you look white, I think you're white. I think that's even how there's some, white passing black people. And at some point in time, if they're getting, if they're living in a life as a white person, they're white. You white. Was that on Role Model? Something like that. Man, that little kid, I thought was going to be so fucking huge. That might be the next thing I watch. It's in my collection. This is why I have it. I have all the DVDs ripped so I can easily click on them and think about it. All right, let's see what's next here. Something I thought was interesting. I mentioned the UFC fights earlier, and at the end of the last prelim fight, I believe it was, there was this UFC fighter. Like I was sure his name was like Hobeck or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he wins this fight, and then afterwards he has like a rhyme ready, like a poem, more if you will, and he does this sort of like rhyme thing. It reminds me of something like Snappy would kind of pull off with the little rhyme schemey thing. I remember him doing stuff like that. But then at the end of it, and he's just trying to get heat. I get it. It's they're trying to do the professional wrestling thing, but at the end he was like, Brittney Griner's a man. And, then the crowd laughs or cheers or whatever and goes on. And that was like the headlines. Like, this guy said Brittney Griner was a man, and people were sharing like, hell yeah. And I just think it's so interesting. And let me see how I can set all this up. Like, any other time, if someone was a trans person, conservatives would not want to call them by their proper pronouns, So that, like, I think we need that as a backdrop. And I think she lives as a man. Like, I think she lives as a trans man, where like she is the father to her kid, and then she has a wife because she's a lesbian lady, and she, like I said, has no, like, she looks like a skinny man, and for some reason Republicans love to be like, she's a man. Where I'm like, I think it's a trans man. Where any other time a trans person, they'd be like, no, you're not. But for this one person, like, oh yes, she is. I don't know. There's just something about it that I can't quite square up, but I do think there's at least some good joke or something here, some point of like, what is it about her that they really want to be a man, but other times they would not want the gender, unless their theory here is like she was born a man. But then it's like, well, that's, I don't know. I mean, I guess there were transvestites before the modern trans movement, where someone like had both genders or whatever. So anyway, ponder on that, Brittney Griner thought, if y'all will. Also, I think last week I mentioned how Amy Poehler probably didn't deserve to win Best Podcast of the Year, because it's like, that's fucking crazy. And that, not that I'm a huge fan, but Joe Rogan should have, right? But anyway, Joe Rogan's, or at least have been nominated, but he's come out and said that he doesn't know if he'd be nominated, but they asked him to enter, but he didn't because there's a $500 fee. And honestly, for sure, that feels like a scam. They're like, oh, you better pay us $500 to enter into this award we might give you. Like, that is weird as fuck. I understand he can afford it, but it's a principle to matter. I kind of agree with him on that one. And that he didn't need the win because he already has the #1 podcast. And there's something to that. So I guess I'd say Amy Poehler won Best Podcast out of people who were willing to pay the $500 fee to enter the Golden Globes contest. So a little correction there. Also, can we just say TikTok sucks these days? Something happened. I think someone bought them, or something happened behind the scenes. They changed some algorithms up, but yeah, TikTok definitely. So, and I could tell because of a week or two ago, whenever it was, my algorithm felt way different. I was getting a lot of like generic, like people dancing, singing songs, shit that I'd never get on TikTok. I normally get some weird, like, I get like the weird fucking fat white guy thinking he's a rapper, but it's fucking shitty. That sort of singing on TikTok. I don't get like the hot chick who's actually good singing on TikTok. That's not what I'm there for. So they fucked up our TikTok. We had something good for a while. I even enjoyed it when the old people would be like, I ain't getting on TikTok. My wife's like that. And I was like, well, you're missing out on the fucking peak internet humor at the moment. But I think it's over. I think if y'all were off of it till now, there's no need to go over there. I think they have fucked it up. That's my take at the moment. We will see what happens. Also, Netflix got video podcasts. I might have mentioned this last week. I feel like I did for some reason, but I just feel like it's the dumbest fucking thing. I can't imagine getting on Netflix to watch a podcast. I guess you can watch anything. I watch a podcast on YouTube, so it's like, well, if it's on Netflix, might as well. But a lot of the people I've seen that have been like, well, hey, our podcast is moving over. There are a lot of things that I listen to audio only. I'm like, I can't even imagine watching a video of this. And I've tried. Like, a perfect example is Bill Simmons, the podfather of sports podcasts, I would say. Done it the longest. I've listened to him for years and years, even though he's lost his fastball a little bit. But I tried to watch him on YouTube about a month or two ago because I think it was during Christmas break because I just was never driving around, so I was behind on episodes. I was like, oh, I'll just watch him. And I just couldn't do it. I was like, how do the people watch and I say that as someone who's like, how do y'all watch me if you're watching this? I knew I'd at least post up some pictures or something, but this was just like a webcam video of two guys back and forth. And I'm like, I guess that's what people like. So imagining that on Netflix was like, man, but that's the world we're in, I guess. Like, people do not care about program scripted things. They want things that rather appear like it's an opinion or off the cuff thing or something. I don't know exactly what it is. So anyway, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I felt like Netflix trying to do the game thing was dumb, and they're still doing that. So I obviously don't understand the markets. That is not my expertise. Also, kind of entertainment related, Catherine O'Hara passed away this week. I know I normally am like, well, you shouldn't care about celebrity deaths. But Catherine O'Hara was very good. Most people know her from the Mom and Home Alone. I know my wife loves the show Schitt's Creek. And so we've watched that a few different times. And she's the mom in that. And she's so good. I mean, I don't know if she's the best character. They're all very good in that show. It's top notch. But because that I am a fan, I do think she's very good. And she has a, very historic, legendary career throughout the years. But yeah, that's how it is. People be down every day. So, all right, let's see. If I got anything else that we just need to talk about. I've had so many things on my list forever that I'm like, I'm never going to talk about this. Like this thing about Mississippi, how they improved their education system. It's like, when's that ever going to come up? But why not right now? Basically in Mississippi, they made it where if a kid did not pass the 3rd grade reading test, that they could not go on to the 4th grade. And you think like, okay, what does that do? But basically it forced kids to be able to read first off. But then it also, when kids started failing and getting held back, maybe more than once, it embarrassed the parents. And then you got the parents actually getting involved because they didn't want to be those shitty parents that their kids couldn't read. So that is how they went. I think they went from like 48th or 49th in the country to like 22nd in education within like 5 years of them doing this one change. So I thought that was always very cool. We gotta fix this education around here. And something else I've written down forever that I'm like, when will this ever come up? But I just do find it interesting that the term hello was invented for the telephone. I want to say Thomas Edison, he had something else like ahoy, something like that was like what he wanted people to answer with. But hello became the thing that people said. And now you would say hello to people in person, as a greeting. But it was not one before the telephone. I believe I'm correct on that. Fact check me right in. Let me know if I'm wrong. But if that is correct, weird. Some weird shit. And then my last one, here's my take on AI. Not even AI necessarily, but a lot of people talk about AI is going to take everyone's jobs, and they probably will. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be doing a way better podcast than this, making better music than me, better at my real life job than I am currently. That is, I understand I know what's in store. But I do think we don't think about how like this has happened many a times throughout the centuries, if you will. Like there was a time that there would be like a local band at your bar or restaurant or whatever, your spot, that got paid to play music. But then the radio got invented, or a jukebox or whatever, a sound system, a DJ that came in, and then they replaced all those people's jobs with with machinery, basically. Or, somewhere on the radio, there used to be like a guy in the factory that read books to everyone while they did their job, and certain different factories. And then that person lost their job as soon as they could get a radio or, something else that could take over that position or whatever. And so I do think it's happened throughout the years a lot. And I think it is typically with artist types that are getting replaced, as far as like the music and stuff, because it's just going to make it, we don't need more stuff, really. We don't need more content. We've all made all the music and videos and everything else we could probably ever need. And now the AI will or the machines will use that to entertain us or remix it or do whatever. Every time we see Mr. Rogers Crip walking, we laugh, the AI wins. But it's hard not to, it is what it is. The AI is what it is. All right. That's good enough here. I'm sure there's more things I can talk about, but I'm running out of steam. I gotta say, get on my soup game. Big soup tonight. A lot of pressure, when you're making the big soups. And I gotta go out in the fucking world, get groceries. That's been a fucking nightmare with ice storms in Oklahoma. People don't know there's just never bread or potatoes or anything that's like normal. People just are like, I'm going to go hoard all of this. And, it's fun time. So it becomes its own little game, I'm guessing. And I'm playing it, baby. All right. I'm out of here. Thanks for checking the podcast. We're going to end here with a classic song by me. As I'm waiting, I have another song coming out next month. I guess it'll be this month by the time y'all hear this. So maybe next week or the week after we'll play that. But we need to revisit some of the old A2thaMo stuff. Now, every time I do, I go, God, I just try to pull up that file and see if I can remix it or do things slightly better. I just, I'm always going to be nitpicky about this stuff. But a song that got me a lot of credit, if you will, from like normal people that don't make music. They were like, hey, that sounds like a real song. Like, I remember people really liked this one. And I always thought it was fine. I mean, I was actually being fucking dumb and stupid, just having a good time. So maybe that's what translates. But it's a song called Foreign Whip. So I have the same car that I had when I made the song that I'm rapping about. So shout that out. And anyway, Foreign Whip, A2thaMo. Thanks for listening to the podcast. We'll be back next week, chances are. Hopefully with Skinny. I haven't talked to him. He posted some picture with him and the gays in an ice storm. So who knows? Who knows what's happening with him? But we'll try to check in with him there. And anyway, peace.
Yo, Mo, make a song about thick bitches that make they booty bounce. Y'all don't get it, let me smoke my ounce. Foreign whip, if Toyota counts. Yo, Mo, make a song about thick bitches that make they booty bounce. Y'all don't get it, let me smoke my ounce. Foreign whip, if Toyota counts.
06 Yoda, 5%. Know you smell the odor, always got a joint lit. Thought the life would change when I'm older, but it's the shit. Pussy, weed, and music, I be making hits. Angry haters throwing fits, and I find it funny. Rapping like a mummy, eat these beats like Doug Funny. I know what I'm about, and you cannot take it from me. Can't wait till I get rich, I'll start rapping about some money.
Yo, Mo, make a song about thick bitches that make they booty bounce. Y'all don't get it, let me smoke my ounce. Foreign whip, if Toyota counts. Yo, Mo, make a song about thick bitches that make they booty bounce. Y'all don't get it, let me smoke my ounce. Foreign whip, if Toyota counts.
Shit, I'm accounting, this producer astounded. Wait, that's me. Shit, I told me pound it. Looking for that pussy, and I tell my girl I found it. Get up in it, then I'm drowning. Give a Master P, I'm bout it. Make it say, can't live without it. I really doubt it, feel I go dumb. Always flow like a fountain. I be spitting, not quitting. They bitching, suck dicks at written while we heating up in the kitchen with all the fixings.
You know what I'm talking about?
Ooh, we're gonna have a lot of fixins?
We're gonna have so many fucking fixins up in this motherfucker.
Yo, Mo, make a song about thick bitches that make they booty bounce. Y'all don't get it, let me smoke my ounce. Foreign whip, if Toyota counts. Yo, Mo, make a song about thick bitches that make they booty bounce. Y'all don't get it, let me smoke my ounce. Foreign whip, if Toyota counts.
Foreign whip. Toyota counts. I'ma count it. I'ma count it.
Yo, Mo, make a song about thick bitches that make their booty bounce. Y'all don't get it, let me smoke my ounce. Foreign whip, that's Toyota counts.
I'ma count it.
Yo, Mo, make a song about
I'ma count it.
thick bitches that make their booty bounce.
I'ma count it.